you start feeling so lost and lonely, then you find it's all been in your mind. Sometimes you think someone is the one and only. Can't you see it could be you and me? But if there's any doubt, then I think I'll leave it out. So tell me one thing, you can't get what you want till you know what you want. Said you can't get what you want till you know what you want. Sometimes you keep busy reaching out for something you don't care. There's always something there. Sometimes you can't see that all you need is one thing. If it's right.
Kind of funny sometimes. I didn't realize that I would be documenting a little bit more today than I expected. What you saw a little bit earlier was me riding the Montreal light rail train. They've actually been having that in the works for a little while, and this weekend, the very last weekend of July, is actually the inaugural weekend where people were able to jump up and be able to ride it for free. Tomorrow, people are gonna have to pay to ride it, but I don't have to worry about that for a really good reason. I'm currently starting a 2-week vacation, which is gonna be fantastic, and almost like a little tradition for myself, because I love taking the first 2 weeks off in August. Gives me a chance to enjoy a Montreal summer a little bit while it's still warm and cozy enough, and my buddies are still able to meet up with me because school is out and they don't have to worry about going back to class until another month. So everyone, welcome to another edition of the Wanayuki Cheese Cafe. It has been a little while since I did a recording, but once again, I'm on vacation and I got a good motivation to do a new episode for everybody and capture a new spot. I had a plan originally which kind of fell through because I am recording this on a Sunday, but because I got the next 2 weeks off, I got plenty of time to get some other episodes done. So let's jump right into this. Oh yes, and don't forget, click that subscribe button. And here I am butchering my words again. Yeah, you can tell my brain's in vacation mode. So, click that subscribe button below and put the notification bell on. That way, when I put a new video up, you're gonna get a pop-up on your phone that it's ready. Oh, and of course, give us a thumbs up beforehand. You haven't seen anything yet, but the more thumbs up I get, the more promotion this channel gets, so you're helping me more than you think. Quite the high-rise that I'm looking at. Well, you also got the Montreal Canadiens logo that's on the top of it. Seeing how I am right in front of the Bell Center, or it used to be the Molson Center when this thing was first built, after they got rid of the Montreal Forum, I guess it kind of makes sense that you want to have these apartments slash condos around. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I get it, you need some extra housing, but I'm sure this thing is probably luxury condos and apartments that your average Joe, average Jane, average Jean-Guy is not going to be able to afford. And anyone who can't afford it, just like, yeah, I'm a millionaire, I'm going to buy it up and I'll rent it out because I'm a rich asshole. I'm telling you, trying to get housing around the city, it's harder and harder. Apartments are unaffordable, and what are people probably going to say? Like, you don't like it? Invest in real estate. Yeah, as if that's going to be a cheaper idea. But I digress. I don't want to get onto a soapbox today. I'm already on vacation. I've made my way a little bit south of where the terminus is located on De la Montagne Street or Mountain Street. I believe this part of Montreal is known as Griffintown, and I do remember I did a walk around here like almost 2 years ago, venturing through Griffintown and then what turned out to be Point St. Charles without even realizing it. If you want to revisit that, I'm going to put a card on the top right corner for you to watch that, because it was like one of my earlier days when I was starting to wander around Montreal again and explore various neighborhoods. But if you were to look here back in the day, like decades ago, this place was definitely a different vibe. I feel like that these apartments slash condos have been around for some time, but thing is, guy on a motorcycle. Thing is that other parts were very industrialized, like we're talking old machine shops and I guess fabric manufacturers. Basically, it was like a working class area. And in some cases, when you look around the old buildings, they are going to tell you what they used to be, like something machine shop with the logo painted directly onto the brick. They've done a lot of work to change the vibe around here, so there's a lot more condos and homes. Some standalone homes, I think, that were here even before the major redevelopment, and also some cute restaurants, bars, cafes that are worth checking out. Kind of realize I haven't really showcased Griffintown as much, so maybe one of these days I'll give it a nice new episode. But we'll see. I kind of have something else in mind. So after I got a little bit further south, I made my way onto Notre Dame Street West. Now, this part of downtown, or I guess the Ville-Marie borough, is considered Little Burgundy. And I know I passed by here a while back because I was taking a little walk around for the St. Ambroise Brewery because I was meeting up with a few co-workers and friends to kind of show off the place. I did stroll around here and notice there's a lot of nice cafes I got to check out, but obviously I don't have time for that today because I already have a destination. But if you want to revisit that, there's a card on the top recording for you to watch that. Did a nice New England IPA, had a little Super Mario Brothers reference, and taster platter. You really can't beat that. Other adversities that come your way. Yeah, I know.
The first thing I met was a fly with a buzz and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 la. After 2 days in the desert sun, my skin began to turn red. After 3 days in the desert fun, I was
Very nice and quiet right here, and that's kind of how I like it. I know eventually it would kind of get a little bit more vibrant once you get further into the day, but it's still early afternoon, so I'm more than okay with that. And just in case you don't even know where I am, well, first off, I've been watching the video and you don't know where I am, you got to open your eyes while you're watching this. But it's easy to tell just by the water tower that I have right in the back. This place is called Brasseur de Montreal. It's a microbrewer, and you could get a lot of their stuff in stores too, in like 12 packs and variety packs. You could even get some 4 packs of tall cans and a whole bunch of stuff. I used to see this from time to time in other bars. And I remember Sir Winston Churchill pub on Crescent Street started to get the Griffintown Blonde very regularly. So that was kind of my first exposure to this style of beer. But as time went on, it seemed like they made more styles, different ones, and there's even limited edition ones. So in case you're not familiar with this one, basically the Brasseur de Montreal, they name all of their beers after different districts in Montreal. So your Griffintown Blonde would be an appropriate one considering I'm located in Griffintown after all. But what I'm doing is one of my favorite beers from them. I got myself the Normanville Hazy IPA. So hazy IPAs are very similar to a New England IPA, that they're hoppy, a bit fruity, the very cloudy texture. So those are definitely my style. But the beauty of this one is that it's only 4.8%, and the IBU measurement on here is about 30. So that means it's kind of bitter, but not too bitter, like not offensively bitter. I like this one not just because of the taste, but it does bring back more warm memories because Normanville is a street that's within the Rosemont, La Petite Patrie district of Montreal, area I'm very familiar with because the Ukrainian community is around that neck of the woods. I've got good memories of growing up around there and etc. So it's always nice to revisit it and cherish some memories. Cheers. Very refreshing and very nice. I love this one. And sometimes you could get an idea of which district it's referring to here just when you look at the can, because they do make reference to certain landmarks. In this case, in Rosemont, they're referring to the old abandoned incinerator. It's on Rue des Carrières. So I guess that's barely supposed to be an important piece of history for the area. I'm not that familiar with, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. All I know is that despite having a smokestack, it doesn't taste very smoky. Yeah, very funny. So good and refreshing. And once again, I feel like that a hazy IPA is the closest thing I could get to a New England IPA over here. Because earlier in the year, I was looking a bit at the menu, and I did see they have a few other ones that aren't available in store, which sadly I don't see at all. But I guess there's other ones I could try out. But it was mainly the market edition of the beers, because I did get a pack of that last year, and it has 3 different kinds, which are named after Montreal markets. So there was the Jean Talon, which was the New England IPA, like the legit New England IPA, not just a hazy borderline New England one. It also contained the Maisonneuve Market. That was a blackberry IPA, and I think it was maybe around 4% or 4 or 5%. I don't really remember that one. And the last one was the Atwater one, based on the Atwater Market. So that one was a tangerine ale, like an IPA, and it was like 3.5%. The lightest one in there, somewhat fruity, so probably the easiest one to drink. I'm actually not that far from the Atwater Market, so it would have been appropriate to order that one too. And the Maisonneuve Market, I do remember that. It's at the Hochelaga Maisonneuve, that's more along the east end, which you would see if you go around, I think it's like Ontario Street East, go further along that direction, and then you would find it. Oh, actually, if you do want, I did pass by there a little while back, and I'm gonna put a card in the top right corner for you. That was my wander, I think February 2022, where I walked through a bit of Hochelaga, then through Maisonneuve Park, which turned out to be a cold day, like colder than I expected. And me trying to navigate the snow made me look like I was an idiot. Ew, a bug. You can't let things go to waste. So I remember those, and you can still get them on occasion, despite the fact they say on the can they're limited edition. So I don't know how much longer they're going to be available for. Oh yeah, if you do want to know which one I like the best, it's an easy one. Jean Talon, Atwater, and Maisonneuve. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're all bad, just my preference was Jean Talon. I like New England IPAs, and as you already know, follow me on the channel, I love going back to that market. Lots of nostalgia there.
Does she really love me? I think she does. Like the stars above me, I know because the sky is bright.
The Normanville was emptied out quite well, and I felt like I want to do another round. And obviously, you've been following me for the last year. You know, whenever I go to a microbrewer, you know that I like to do a few samples, like a taster platter, and over here it's no different. Obviously, I had to go for one of these, which is 5 Galopins, which are basically 5 ounces, 4 of them at once, so you get a nice sample of them without having to get so shit-faced that you won't be able to walk home. And all the coffee in the world will help you out. Now, they call this one here the Wellington Bridge, or the Pont Wellington. I'm guessing this design is supposed to be like the Wellington Bridge. It's not far from here. And I want to try to showcase a few different areas of Montreal by the names and also the styles of beer all at once. Plus, it gave me a chance to try to see what haven't I had over here that's worth a visit. Not a visit, a taste. It's not like I'm going to all these neighborhoods from here. So, we're going to get started from the far left. This one is a Pilsner, but they call this one a New World Pilsner, which is the first time I've ever heard of that. It's the Long Point. So unlike your Griffintown Blonde, that one has a bit more of a cereal taste, like maybe oaty. This one is going to be made more with American hops. And apparently with the white grapes and the lychees or litchis, I never know how to pronounce that. Long Point I believe it's on the east end of Montreal, just like not far from the Hochelaga Maisonneuve territory. So it's almost a very industrial area that I've seen here. And figured just, do another Pilsner to get a new one done. So first time, going to the Long Point. And as luck would have it, a fly fell in my beer right on camera. Fuck. Hate when that happens. Okay, not bad. I'd have to taste the Griffintown and the Long Point side by side to be able to tell you exactly what makes it so distinct, but I do enjoy it, and it's only 5.1%, so 0.1% difference compared to the Griffintown. Then the next one here is going to be a white beer, the Préfontaine. In case you couldn't tell, this is a white. Whites are usually served with a slice of orange on the side too that you can dip in and then eat for maximum nutrition. Préfontaine is referring to Hochelaga Maisonneuve, like around Ontario Street. And white beers, especially Belgian white beers, are typically brewed with wheat instead of barley. They'll also have a taste of coriander and some orange peel in there. And apparently they use yeast in there, even though I always thought that yeast was typical of most beers. Yep, good stuff. And it's only 4.5%, so it's not a really strong one. If you wanted like a similar taste to this, I would say if you're going to the grocery store, you get like a Hoegaarden, Belgian Moon, or Blue Moon, and you kind of get an idea what this one is going to be like. Then we're going to get onto the hoppy side here. An American Pale Ale that's called Van Horn, 5.2%, and then this one's going to be a little bit more bitter. So unlike the Long Point, which was 17, and Préfontaine was 18, Van Horn is 40. So pale ales typically are like, I feel like that they're more caramelized hops or caramelized barley that they use. So it's not like quite an IPA, but it's getting there. Van Horn is referring to a street within Mile End in Outremont. And if you were to look on the can, you'll notice that they have a water tower on there. It's referring to an old factory that's along Van Horn Avenue with a water tower that's right on top of it. So that thing has been standing for I don't know how many decades. It's been abandoned, but it's a landmark in a lot of places. And this is a good one that I enjoy too, because when I get some beers from these people, I usually get the hoppy edition one, which has La Mer IPA, the really strong one, Van Horn, Normanville, and Phare de Lille. Phare de Lille is supposed to be like a dry hopped saison, so it's more like a farmhouse ale. Stronger one though, and that one refers to La Chine. But that's me digressing. Cheers to Mile End and to Bagel Central. Good stuff. Really like this one. And the last one I'm going to be tasting is one that I don't think I've ever seen in the grocery stores before. And as far as I could tell, they don't even have them in their limited edition cans. So it's something that's kind of brand new. Dégelé, I guess supposed to mean defrosted. And take note of the color. This one's darker, and it's a Scotch ale. So Scotch ales are a little bit like ambers, darker beers, in which they caramelize the barley so that it gives a bit more of a sweeter flavor. Big difference between a lot of ambers and this one is that this one tends to be made stronger. So this one's, 7.5%. So yeah, we're getting to strong fucker territory here. And also kind of bitter one too, because it's actually supposed to be bitter than, like more bitter than the Van Horn. Van Horn was a 40 on the ID scale. This one's 60. Now I'm kind of worried about how I'm gonna drink this. But the thing is, I like Scotch ales from time to time. I just don't do them very often because they're notoriously strong. But when in Rome, or in this case, when in Griffintown. Okay, this was actually a really smooth one. I enjoy the taste. It went down pretty easily, but apparently there's also like a small hint of maple in there. Yeah, maple is something you can find from time to time. I feel like Saint Ambroise, that other brewer I went to in Griffintown, does, they do kind of make a maple beer around that time period, which kind of makes sense, but I don't get maple as often. And the main reason is that I'm not a very sweet beer drinker. Like the really fruity ones, I'll do if I'm with a group of friends that really like their sweet beers. On my own, it's not something I would really do unless I really want to showcase it, or I look at the name of it, I look at the design, the taste, and I think, okay, this is like some good aged cheddar I could generate for the channel. I'm gonna have to say, this is a really nice variety here, different styles. If I was to ask what my favorite one is, I can't really tell you, because I like all these for very different reasons. It's good stuff.
He's a rebel and a runner. He's a signal turning green. He's a restless young romantic, wants to run the big machine. He's got a problem with his poisons, but you know we'll find a cure. He's cleaning up the systems to keep his nature pure.
All right, very first impression over there, loved it. I'm gonna wanna go back one of these days because it's pretty quick to get here from downtown and pretty straightforward. Love the beers. I'm sure the food there is pretty nice. It's like I was looking around, I told my friends that there's a shrimp guédille on the menu and there's some shrimp tartare, not shrimp tartare, salmon tartare, beef tartare, so stuff I really enjoy. I'm gonna wanna go back to see what those things are like. And a few things I noticed too as I was wrapping things up, I did see that it's old shipping crates that have been refurbished into seating and shelters, and one of those actually had a TV in there where he said you can actually ask for consoles to play. So it's like, can I play some Nintendo and PlayStation while I'm having a drink? Sure, why the hell not? Last place I've had something like that was Nacho Libre, which is pretty awesome for that. And the other thing I noticed is that if you're to go there from 4 to 7 every day, Griffintown, Little Burgundy, La Mer IPA, Préfontaine, like the regular beers, they're going to be $5 a pint, which is a price that you really don't see very much in this day and age. So it's kind of incredible. So what I'm doing is I'm walking a little bit along William Street, and what the? Oh, okay, sidetracked because of this thing. So this thing says Mauvais Garçon, Bad Boys, but clearly this is Sam Jackson from Pulp Fiction. So I discovered this along the way on a walk a little while ago, but I got back here, I had to showcase it because it's fucking awesome. Mauvais Garçon, Bad Boys, that's the name of the restaurant here. It's closed today, and looks like it only opens at 5 o'clock for Tuesday through Saturday. Suppose I want to give this a shot, then I could always come back here again. Anyways, I'm on William Street, and I have an idea where I'm going to be going instead, and it's familiar territory if you've been watching me on my last few vlogs. Precious Allongé. Yeah, I felt like I needed a rejuvenation nectar for myself before I made my way to my last destination. And luckily I found a nice cafe that's around the corner here. It's called Cossé, and it's apparently like a cafe slash buvette. I looked it up and I had to think, like, had you asked me over a month ago, I would have said, what exactly is a buvette? Well, apparently it's supposed to be a place you could grab a nice coffee, maybe a glass of wine, and have maybe a light meal served for you too. So it's kind of a very informal restaurant and cafe, almost like a bistro. So that's kind of what it is. And I know there's a good one that I visited once that's around my babcha's old neighborhood, aka my grandmother. So I'll have to check that out and maybe highlight it one of these days. But this one's actually pretty nice because this one is on Central Street in Point St. Charles, which is like the main road, like the main artery of it. And it's neat for family history just because this is 1 block south of Richardson Street. And if you remember my video I did before, this is actually close to where my dad was living when he was born. Like my family, they came from Ukraine, came to France for a little bit, eventually moved to Toronto, to Montreal. And then when they moved to Montreal, 1 year later, he was born. So that kind of is a neat little bit of trivia here. It's kind of funny to think that I passed by here before and didn't realize that this is where he was living at the time. Almost like when I was walking around the plateau close to Prince Arthur Street, that was actually where my grandparents were living at the time too. It's funny how that works. So, an allongé, I've talked about it numerous times on the channel, so it's shorter than an Americano I like to get, but essentially you get 1 drop, like 1 shot of espresso with 1 shot of water, kind of make it a bit taller, dilute it, and you take some of the bite out of it. So it's a nice way to get a coffee without a really strong taste like you would get with a single shot. It's kind of neat, and it's in a different kind of glass here. The only thing that comes very similar is to my double shot glass that I have at home that you've seen me drink from before. Actually, at the beginning of this video, I was drinking from one of those. It's a little bit smaller, more narrow, but you kind of get the idea. It's neat, and I love it. I like this. And there's a few other good places around Point St. Charles I want to visit down the road too that I never would have realized existed back in the day. One important one I want to go to is around Charlevoix Street. There's Goplana Cafe. It's a Polish restaurant, like one of the only ones I know of besides Stash Cafe. I didn't even think that would have existed, but apparently there it is. And they did have a tent this year at Polski Picnic over at the Plateau Montréal. Tagged them, told me I gotta go visit them one of these days. So now I'm kind of committed to that. Not that that's a bad thing. Very nice. So once I'm done rejuvenating myself, then I'm gonna make my way to my last destination. And full disclosure, I kind of have my eye on the shrimp or lobster Guédille, just because I've never showcased that on the channel before, and I do want to kind of show and explain a little bit what it's about. So stay tuned, everyone. And that was a nice rejuvenating coffee for myself. And sometimes I find that when I'm recording in these random places, people who run the shops or even own the place, they do get a bit chatty or kind of get curious about it. Most common thing that happens is saying, hey, you're recording there, do you have a YouTube channel? But what this place actually did was they explained a little bit about the nuances of their coffee. Like from what he was saying, like it was supposed to be an Arabica or like a they didn't have a third wave kind of coffee. Third wave coffee apparently is basically piccolo, pista, where their espresso is supposed to be a medium blend at best, as opposed to a dark blend. But this one that they served over here was supposed to be a darker blend, and he apparently added some Vietnamese coffee blends into the roast, which I thought was kind of amazing and kind of neat. I don't have much of Vietnamese coffee, because what you find here is not very easy to come by. My only real experience with Vietnamese coffee, like legit coffee beans, was when my brother brought me back some beans from Vietnam, and I actually got a sense of what it was like. There's a certain spice and flavor in there that I couldn't put my finger on, but it was amazing. So I'm kind of glad I got to explain a little bit about the process. And now that I'm on Central Street once again, it's time for me to make my way to the next stop. Yep. I was trying to think about where else can I get a shrimp Guédille for myself, and I was looking at the menu preemptively, and I remembered, oh yeah, there's this place over here that's right by the Lachine Canal, also on St. Patrick Street. This is the Memento Microbrewery, and it's the very same place I went to go grab a beer during that whole run when I was looking around my dad's old neighborhoods. And this one is in Point St. Charles, not too far of a walk from his old hood on Richardson Street, close to the Northern Electric Company. So I thought it was kind of neat that I'm having a drink like where family was living at the time, which I thought was kind of neat. And that last time I was here, I did a New England IPA, the Cactuar, but I decided to go for something a little bit different, a lighter blonde, a 5%er that's called Blinky. And according to the description they were giving me, it is kind of based on one of the ghosts that chases around Pac-Man in the maze. So if you're kind of young or you're living on your own planet, you got the 4 ghosts that chase after Pac-Man: Blinky, Inky, Pinky, and Clyde. Yeah, one of these names isn't like the other. It's like Clyde out of all things. Really? But I don't think I've ever had this one before. And as far as I can tell, I've only had the Cactuar outside of here when I went to some random dépanneur. I was around the Plateau Montréal. Because, you know, sometimes these beer places, that's beer specialty shops, can carry things that you won't get in most of your grocery stores or other spots. Peluso, fantastic selection there that has exclusive deals. Citfret, same thing too. But in the case of the Blinky, we're going to give this a shot. Cheers to the vacation. Very nice. Easy to drink. Something that's perfect if you're sitting on a terrace, or in this case, if you're at the bar close to a terrace, but awesome stuff too. I'm kind of hoping I can get a seat on a terrace later on because it is sunny, it's summertime, it's vacation time. I got to be sitting outside while I'm having the beer. But I do like the vibe. The countertop has a nice neon light, like built in the middle of it. The decor over here makes me think of something that my grandmother would have had. Like some of these tables and chairs almost feel borderline antique. So I'm digging it. And I'm just going to slowly sip this until my Guédille comes in. Beautiful. So I had a bit of my beer over here, and now it's time to go on to the main course. I'm doing for myself a shrimp Guédille. Craft dinner? No, I don't mean KD. I'm saying Guédille. So what this is like, it's taking some shrimp with a bit of vegetables, vinaigrette, and seasoning, and throw it all into a hot dog bun. So that's basically what the gist of it is. I've had some of these at bistros before, and I thought these are kind of awesome, and I feel like I had to showcase on the channel at least once. It does make me think that I had to look and think, what exactly is a Guédille? Because until the last few months, it's not something I was really familiar with, and I just had to educate myself so I could at least speak a little bit intelligently about this. From what I could see, it's basically, this one's a shrimp one, but you could get it with shrimp and lobster, or just lobster. And the idea is that these originated in New England, like we're talking about the Northeast, like New England territories, and pretty much it's called a lobster roll there. But the Guédille is something that's like a Quebec origin. Essentially just means the Guédille refers to the hot dog bun, so it's like un pain de chien chaud. But I can tell you, like 99% of the time, no one's gonna call it a chien chaud here. They're gonna call it a hot dog, even in French. So it'll be like, perfect example, ouais, je vais prendre un hot dog, s'il vous plaît. That's just how it is. So it's a very typical thing you can find in a lot of restaurants, bars, especially bistros. So if they serve beef tartare, salmon tartare, there's a good chance you can get one of these on the menu too. And luckily I have a napkin because I know that this could be a little bit messy. So cheers everyone, as much as you can cheers yourself with the hot dog bun. Okay, love it. Yeah. So cold shrimp, great vinaigrette, a bit of green onions, what looks like cabbage on a hot dog bun. It's amazing. Had I been on a terrace, it would have been the perfect opportunity to be able to showcase what's essentially a summer meal. Because honestly, this stuff is cold, it's almost meant to be eaten outside. I love it. that was a very nice meal. Shrimp Guédille, it's the first time I've highlighted it on the channel. I know people have seen it on my Instagram, Facebook feed, but I never showcased it or even described what it's supposed to be. So it was pretty awesome. The Pac-Man juice has been all depleted and I had to go for a final ration before I start to hit the road. So one of the beauties when you're at a bar like a microbrewery is that you can ask about your favorite beers and types of styles, and they'll sometimes give you a small sample of each one to see if you like it before you order a full pint or a full glass or a full galopin, that's your style. I tried a couple of the IPAs that they had over here. There's one that they make, one that wasn't listed was called an experimental IPA. I liked it, but I kind of wanted to be sure that I get something I can't get anywhere else. Because there was another one that was from Brasseur de Montreal, Canada, or like from Lower Canada. I could get them in some other spots. This place, they make a lot of their own beer, and I had to do this one. It's called the Stratégie IPA, 6%, and apparently has a bit of a fruity flavor. Actually, what do I mean by apparently? It does have a fruity flavor because I've actually experimented with it, and it's nice, strong, like almost the strength of a New England IPA, but it's something brand new. So everyone, cheers to the next ration. I love it. And I'm loving this glass too, because it's making me think back to when I was here back in March, when I was doing the video on my dad. It was just great. I had a New England IPA over there, over here, and it just made me think that it's the polar opposite of what my dad would have enjoyed. Because these style of craft beers, I don't believe they were around in the grocery stores when we were growing up. I look at the grocery stores back then, it was always Labatt, Molson, Coors, I guess, Old Milwaukee, Wildcat, and Laurentide, so that was always his style. The beer selection since then has grown astronomically, so I kind of wonder, I keep thinking about this, but would my dad have liked the craft beer scene if he was still around? Or would he be like enjoying his classics, seeing what I'm drinking and just ask, what is this shit? It's hard to tell, because the only thing I could go by is my friends that have dads who are very similar in age, and they probably have their own style. Some like having the classic beers, some are a bit experimental, but other times it's really hard to tell. Like, it could go both ways. I don't know, it just makes me wonder. But I guess all I could say is I'm having a good beer around my dad's old hood when he was born, so you can't really put a price on that. Oh, and just to be sure too, have to have some high quality H2O. Because on a day like today, you need your hydration. Yep, as you can plainly see, I had to go for another part of the meal because the shrimp guédille was awesome, but it was just a sandwich, and normally if I'm going to be ordering that, I usually get it with some fries or a salad, or sometimes both depending on the place I'm at. So I ended up getting some extra fries here, which turned out to be pretty awesome. So essentially what they told me is that it's fries, you know, the usual standard issue fries, with a bit of shredded Parmesan cheese on top, which already feels kind of awesome. And the dipping sauce here actually has some like oil and truffle together. I thought, oh, I haven't had truffle in a while. It's not something I get very often when I'm out, but I do try truffles if I'm with friends. I do use that in their cooking or in some other kind of meals. So it's a case of when in Rome. It's got a really pleasant taste to it. And I love the smell of the fries because it just feels like it's really awesome. Well, I may not have been able to get a terrace, but I'd still say it was an awesome day. Great Sunday, great weather, great brews and walks, a little bit of nostalgia. What more can you really ask for? And the beauty is that I still got another 2 weeks off, so I got plenty of time to get some more episodes, or if I don't get any episodes done, just time to relax and enjoy myself. So until the next time, thanks for watching this edition of the Wanayuki Cheese Cafe. And if you like what you see, just be sure to hit that subscribe button below. Just remember, put the notification bell on so you get the pop-up that a new episode is ready. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy my antics, if you like my wandering, my choice of music, and everything that comes with it. And if you have another idea for an episode, like if you know a place I should check out in Montreal, a recipe I should do at home, or just something I should cover, leave in the comments section and I'll try to integrate it when possible. Till then, take care, see you next time, and I'm going to be enjoying this time off. Okay, these fries are to die for.